invent something new. All we'd have to do is read the Constitution. They tell us exactly what we're supposed to have. And what about a foreign policy? We need a foreign policy, but do we have to invent it? No, all we have to do is read the Constitution. We need a strong national defense. We don't need to be the policemen of the world. And very simply, we should reject and not get engaged in any more wars that aren't declared properly and supported by the people. You know, I've gotten some advice on the internet every once in a while, and the advice is, Ron, if you would just change your foreign policy, you would get a few supporters. If they only knew that the support for the freedom movement comes with a sound economic and a sound foreign policy that makes sense. Very simply, it means bringing our troops home and stopping all these undeclared, unwinnable wars. Now, what would this do for our economy? I'd like to see all the troops spending their money here at home and not going over there. But in the last 10 years, fighting these unwinnable, undeclared wars, we have spent over $4 trillion more into debt for this. So there's a cost of life and limb, but there's an economic cost as well, and the American people are tired of it, and they're ready because they know this country is bankrupt. All great nations go down because they overextend themselves overseas. So I would say it's time for us to wake up. Don't wait for an economic crisis to hit when we have to come wimping home. We ought to just wise up, spend our money wisely, defend this country, and don't pretend that we can tell other people how to live. The greatest danger when we accept the notion that the government's supposed to take care of us from cradle to grave and we're supposed to be the policemen of the world is that it ultimately is done at the expense of personal liberty. The purpose of all government should be the protection of individual liberty for each and every one of them. We need to reverse the trend on the attack on our civil liberties. We need to repeal the Patriot Act. We need to repeal the provision that the president has the authority to assassinate American citizens without trial. We need to repeal the provision that says the president can use the military to arrest any American citizen and deny them a trial. Very simply, the answer is send only people to Washington, send only people to the White House that know and understand and read the Constitution and enforce the Constitution. Then we would have the full understanding how you have a peaceful, thriving nation is you enforce the concept of liberty. Enforce the liberty for each and every one of us equally. This brings people together because people will use their liberty in different manners, but we don't have to fight over how they use their liberty as long as they assume responsibility for themselves and the consequences of all their actions. It also very simply suggests the fact that if we have a right to our life and our liberty, we should have a right to keep the fruits of our labor as well. So we don't have to reinvent something. We can improve on our past, but we had a great past. We had a great Constitution. We had a great middle class, the richest and the biggest middle class ever, and we've undermined it with excessive spending, excessive taxation, a monetary system that is flawed, and a foreign policy is flawed. So all we have to do is return to our roots, and in a short time, we could have our peace and our prosperity and our reliance on ourselves with our personal liberty. Not only has this been a great day for the campaign for liberty and this process, but it's been a great week for the campaign. And believe me, it's been a great past 4 years, because 5, 6, or 7 years ago, they really didn't know exactly what was happening. But with the crisis that hit, both the economic crisis that we had 4 years ago, the realization of the significance of our Federal Reserve System, as well as our flawed foreign policy, the people know about it. They're awakening to this. They're listening to this message. It's up to us to do something about it. The message is loud and clear. The enthusiasm is here, but it has to be translated into proper political action. That means attending the caucuses and send a powerful message to this country that we want our freedoms back. We don't want more government. Thank you very much.